All right, good morning. Um, let's see here. We got Tuesday, October 19th. Just sorry I'm late. I was over here looking at the pre-market, checking out the scanner, seeing what's moving this morning. Looks like a lot of oil companies are starting to pop a little bit. Just got some volume in the last 5 minutes or so. Um, see who's here this morning. Joseph Scott. Oh man, I was thinking about you last night because I know you picked. I guess now I just found out you picked the Bills. Um, yeah, I was. Because I remember you said that you had to pick that game, and that was a great game too. It really was. Derrick Henry. So I got him on one of my fantasy leagues, and I mean I had no shot last night. I went into last night's game down by like 32 points with only Derrick Henry left to play, and he put up like 16 points in the first half, fantasy points. And, and then it got down to like, they got down the goal line. I think their quarterback runs it in, and I'm pissed. I'm like, oh, okay, there's no chance. Then he scored the second time. Then they got down at the goal line for that third time, and it was like my only shot. I was still down by 6 points. He had to like run one in from the 10 or from at least the 10-yard line. Um, yeah, and so I ended up winning my fantasy game, and then what a game though. Um, Derrick Henry, you're right. That guy's just a beast. That was an insane game though. I still feel like every primetime game that's been on this year, almost every game. But if you think about all the games that have been on Thursday night football, Monday night football, Sunday night football, have all went down to, I feel like, overtime, been tight games, tight matchups, coming down to the wire, final seconds. And this one didn't disappoint either. It really was a good game, and I think those are two um, pretty obvious playoff teams, but um, definitely the Bills. I still think are one of the toughest teams in the AFC. And when the Titans get rolling like they were last night, when they get the run game going and everything, they're definitely one of the better teams in the AFC too. Michael, what's up? La Clova Nostra. Um, Louis, good morning. 6'8" Spindrift, good morning. Michelle, good morning, everyone. What's going on? Dennis D, David, Hobbs, what's up? Yeah, Jacksonville, was that I saw you guys are talking about I know, who did the Jaguars? Oh, they played the Dolphins. Yeah. I don't know. I've been staying away from trying to stay away in the pickums and any of those bad teams. The Dolphins, the Jaguars, the Lions. If anything, I've just been trying to take any team that plays against them. You know, um, but that Jaguar Dolphins matchup, I didn't want to touch at all. Um, Rick James, what's going on? JG, Sly Dev, what's going on? Yeah, that's what's crazy with Tennessee, and that it's like, but against the NFL, right? So they're all professional athletes, and as terrible as the Jets are, or some of these other teams, they're all going to have that one game. Like the Texans got one win too. I forget who they beat. I think it was it was the Jaguars. Yeah, so that just came, but yeah, I mean, they're all going to have that game or two where they come out and win, but um I think you could pretty safely go against them every week almost. The Giants, there's a couple teams out there that they just for the pick 'em pool at least they seem like safe plays. Paul Jones, good morning. Um, Andy Smith. So yesterday was kind of interesting. First off, PROG. We were talking about it on here yesterday. I want to get into that one again because I'm really liking this play. Um, you know, it, some amazing day trade opportunities yesterday. 234 ripped up to 255. Again, with another crossover here at 249. All the way up to 294. And then again, 281. Popped to 297. Probably could have played the breakout here from 293 up to 308. This is the only play that I was kind of jumping in and out all day yesterday. But I also think this is a great squeeze setup. We talked about this yesterday, how it was kind of forming that technical breakout. Here, I'll just erase it real quick. There we go. You kind of saw this little flag forming, right? And it looked like exactly kind of the same as this one that was forming here. And sure enough, we got a big pop again. When you look at this, let me pull this back up. Also realize I don't have there we go. All right, that looks a little bit more like what I'm used to. It just broke out again from 301, popping up to 309. So, anyways, with PROG, when we look at the Ortex data, and I took a look last night. I don't know if it changed at all. Sometimes they update stuff overnight, a little bit different. But again, 63, almost 64% short interest. Cost to borrow today is at 259 on average, but it's coming into this morning at 73. Utilization still high. You back out and again look at the daily chart. This is a stock that, may catch some resistance at 397, maybe again at 5. But it was once trading at 916 earlier this year and almost at $16 way back when it when it first IPO'd. So not too long ago either. So I'm really liking this play. It's trading above max pain. It's been seeing the uptick in volume. Right now this morning, volume's already at 3.6 million. The float on this is 128, I believe. Yeah, 128 million. So I don't know. I mean, yesterday we were kind of talking about, how high can it go? I don't want to set a limit because, you really never know with these things. I mean, I know like the November chain goes up to 5. Might as well pull that up. And I only bring that up because sometimes, these things run out of fuel, so to speak, once they blow out the chain. But I don't really think this is too options related, at least up to this point. It's not like there's a bunch in here that's making this thing gamma squeeze or anything. But then your January chain goes up to 750. So that's probably from way back. But yeah, I think this is definitely one to keep an eye on if you're let me see here. Why don't I have there we go. Yeah, I mean, IV's not even extremely high right now. It is for November and December, but considering it's a squeeze play, you could still grab, I don't know, IV is kind of high. Shares is probably the way to go with this one. But regardless, I guess, I don't know. Day trading, it's not bad. I mean, if you think about the movement you can pop in and out of, but if you're one of those people like myself sometimes too, where you get tied up at work and you don't have the opportunity to day trade, I really think this is probably one of the most enticing squeeze plays right now that I've seen, that's available right now. Trading above max pain, extremely high numbers. I think this thing still got a lot of pop left in it. But again, you never know what can happen in after hours. That's why I've been liking to kind of just stick and move with a lot of these. AVIR is one that popped up on the scanner. Again, this isn't a squeeze play or nothing like that, but I just want to show you what can happen to a stock in after hours. Trading at 41 at the end of the day yesterday, within minutes dropped down. It's at 930, down to 932. It's back up to 1023 today right now. It was like failed COVID results or something. Something along those lines, but I mean, the thing fell 70% in a matter of minutes. And that's why with a lot of these plays, I've been liking to not hold overnight and just kind of get in and just kind of pop in and out throughout the day. And again, this isn't a squeeze play. This is one that's going to be on my watch list today, 64 million float. And the only reason is, we talk about gap fills. I highly doubt it's going to fill this gap, but there's a lot of room in there, right? So if all of a sudden it starts trending, but maybe it dropped too much and the stock's really worth 1750 or somewhere along those lines, that's a 70% gain to the upside if it starts to pop back, or a 50% gain if it pops back to 15. Even if it just pops back to 12, that's a 20% gain. So definitely one I'll be looking at here, to maybe day trade a little bit today, because there's a huge gap there. And who knows, it could end up just continuing to fall. But anyways, with PROG, not to get off topic, with these, I know options are expensive as hell, but if I was gonna like hold overnight and be in for the long term, I may look at options just because it's a little bit cheaper, and risk is more. If I really wanted to just hold this as a long term squeeze, something that I'm looking to pop up to 5 or somewhere along those lines. If you come in and look at, even if you wanted to buy the $3 call, that's pretty damn expensive, again, because of IV, how high it is. But $75 as opposed to $300, or $750 as opposed to $3,000. At least my risk is capped, right? Yeah, there's an expiration date on it, which makes it more risky, but I know that if all of a sudden this thing comes falling down in after hours, or even during the day when I'm not able to be there to get out or anything like that, my risk is capped. It's capped at what I bought the contract for. So that's the way I've been playing it. But IV's a little high right now, so I don't know. Right now, I don't hold any position in PROG. I sold yesterday when I was kind of just jumping in and out of it. So I really do think the best way to do this is if you're able to sit there and watch it and day trade it, and even if you kind of trade it looser like I did last week, where maybe you don't let some of these smaller downturns stop you out. So let's say you got in here as it crossed VWAP and just said, okay, I'm jumping in at 240. Set yourself a limit to the downside, like, hey, I'm getting out if it falls below 2. You would have been in for all this, and then you move up your mental stop as it goes up. Once it rips way up here, I mean, shit, you're already up 50%. Maybe you say, okay, now if it falls below 250, I'm out, and you're still just riding the wave. If this thing gets up to 350, I'm out at 3, and just set that mental stop. But again, you got to be willing to, I mean, during market hours, you can always set a hard stop. But in after hours, you got to be up ready to get yourself out. Um, but I really like this play. Um, I really do. All right, let's keep moving. Actually, you know what? Before we get off Prague, Max Payne, see if it updated at all. Still $1.50. So it's trading at almost double, or it is trading at double Max Payne right now too, which is you know, not something we got to worry about right now. And that's why a lot of these other plays, I mean, they have similar setups to Prague, smaller floats. A lot of people would argue that, a smaller float stock would give you a better opportunity to squeeze. That's true, but you know, your SDC, your ATER, some of those other ones that have similar setups, they're trading below max pain right now, and I highly doubt they're going to get above it until the IV comes down. So, I mean, that's just something that I've been learning myself, this year with these manipulated stocks. All right. Let's see. Oh, Michael says that Tennessee loss to the Jets was okay. Man, that's a rough one. Because again, I've been kind of using that strategy right now, just with the pick 'em, just picking teams that are playing against the bad ones, and I'm just glad that wasn't the one I took. But man, that sucks. Pete, what's up? Good morning. Andy says the Bears usually a safe bet to lose. Yeah, you know what? It's hard to tell right now what's going on with the Bears because, I mean, they came in and beat the Raiders, and that's a game the Raiders were flying high. I thought the Raiders would have, definitely won that game because, the Bears have been so hit or miss. Then they beat the Raiders, and it was like, okay, well, are the Bears that good this year? I like Justin Fields. I like what I see with them and everything. But then the stuff about John Gruden comes out, him getting fired, and it's like, okay, maybe the Raiders were a little distracted, especially after looking at this week when the Raiders came out and took care of business again. So, still early in the season, though, too. We're only 6 games in. Um, even a team sitting with 2 wins or something still has a shot at making the playoffs, especially with one more game this year. NFL's playing a 17-game season, so still a lot of season left. Joseph says, "Look at IO." Yeah, I got to look at my screener in a second too, just to see what's up here. But let's check out IO. I know IO. I think Ghost said yesterday came up on his. He said he was day trading this one yesterday. Looks like that one had some nice pops in there too. Real choppy though. What's the float size on this one? 25 million isn't too bad. I mean, we've been trading smaller ones. Just looking to see if I see any sort of news on it or anything like that, but looks like it's right now kind of heading back down. Not a lot of movement there. So it's got this huge gap up yesterday. And, again, we've kind of talked about, 90% of the time, 9 times out of 10, gaps get filled. And so it wouldn't be shocking. I'm not saying this thing's going back to 140, but that it may trade downwards a little bit and try to fill this gap up. I mean, even if you look at the last time this thing took a huge pop way up here, there wasn't really a gap back there. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, volume wise, it's not even at 1 million in volume, so it looks like, potentially maybe how much volume does this thing normally trade at? That was 142 million volume yesterday, so it traded like 6 times the float. But in previous days, it's only looking at 240, 300, 600. Not a lot of volume. Even this other day where it had this big kind of pop up, or a huge range, I should say, from 147 to 212, 15 million. I don't know. I would almost, the way how choppy this chart is and everything else, and even just based on how choppy this thing traded yesterday, I would say there's probably better stocks out there to trade today. Um, you know, that's just what I'm thinking. Scotty Z, what's up? Braden, I haven't even touched on CLOV yet. I will. Just getting through some of this other stuff. Tenderfoot, what's going on? Good morning. Ross says 2 extra wild cards this year. I didn't even realize that. So how are they, like a playing game for the wild card? I didn't realize that. All right. So yesterday, the only other one that I was kind of watching yesterday, didn't trade at all. Too hard while I'm at work. But FCell, I missed that run early on. I think Ghost, when he was on the show, jumped in this. I never asked him how he actually did. But this thing started ripping early. And it did provide a couple little pops in there, 850 to 865, not much actually. You got kind of this crossover here, up to 864. That would have been a big one there. 860 up to 887. So it looks like this one had some nice pops in there throughout the day that would have been worthwhile to play. But yeah, PROG was my big one yesterday, and that's probably what I'm going to be watching today. BBIG as well. And the only reason I'm still looking at BBIG is, actually not even the only reason. There's a couple reasons here. One, BBIG's option chain right now. Last week we had that kind of gamma squeeze potential, 87 million float, and take a look at the chain here. And this week isn't nearly as loaded up as last week, but we're in the weeklies now. If we go out to the monthlies in November, still kind of the same. But there is a lot of open interest here. It's trading above max pain. I think the last time I checked it, max pain on BBIG was $7. So we're trading above max pain. And then if we take a look at Ortex data, let's see. Doesn't really have quite the same short interest as some of these other plays. But utilization's there. Cost to borrow on the days at 260. So it's still, and again, above max pain, right? And that's what I'm really looking at is, is which ones have the ability to run, which ones aren't going to be prevented from running because they're already past that point. So, I mean, BBIG is probably the other one that I think shows the most potential right now. If we look at some of the other popular squeeze plays that we've seen in recent days or weeks, even months for that matter, ATER was one that it was trading right there last week. It still has the short interest. It still has the cost to borrow. It still has the utilization. But right now, ATER is trading at 827 with max pain of $10. And IV hasn't fell off enough, I don't think, for them to let this thing run. SDC was the other one, Smile Direct Club. And I'm not saying that these squeeze plays are over. It's just, I think they might be some that we have to come back and revisit maybe a couple weeks from now or months from now. Again, SDC, 32% short interest. Cost to borrow's down, but utilization's there. So, and max pain on that one is, if I can recall correctly, it was at $6 last time I checked. Yeah, it's at 6. The stock's trading at 560. So I think they're just going to control these ones and kind of make them trade sideways for a little bit. Just while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and we'll take a look and see what's on the Fintel's short squeeze list. So there's PROG, a couple new names, DBGI, RCAT, PTGX, Pulse one that I'm gonna write that one down because Pulse one that's been moving recently too. Take a look at some of those real quick. So here's BBIG. Again, I think this one probably has the most potential behind PROG right now. Just to take a look and see what DBGI is doing right now. Cost to borrow is at 37. Short interest is kind of low. RCAT. What was the other one? PTGX. That one looks like it's all over the place. PALT. See, like with PALT right now, I'm just going to assume this thing popped up to 15 so recently. Last month, made its way back down to 7. I can almost, let me take a look at this real quick. There's no options on that one. So that doesn't really fit into my getting pinned at max pain type thing. So who knows what's going to happen with that one. Looks like it doesn't have the volume anymore though. So yeah, I mean, if I had to, I'm still just going to be watching PROG and BBIG. All right, so looking at the scanner this morning, some stocks that came up, and then we'll stocks that came up on my scanner this morning. AVIR I talked about a second ago, and you can see shit, it's already up to 1160 since we just talked about it, but this thing dropped down from 41. Negative news obviously. Floats about 64 million, but to fall down almost 80%, you would imagine that it would start to make its way back up. And I mean, shit, I didn't get in this, but this is one I'm going to be watching. I mean, even if you just played this crossover right here at 1075, you're already up like 10%. And I think it's going to give you those opportunities today. That's a huge gap with a lot of volume pouring in right now. I think it's at what? I got to pull it back up now. It's already traded 7 million in volume, so about 10% of the float this morning. And like I said, I think we were talking about this. It was at $10 a little while ago. And, even if it just pops back up to 15 throughout the day, that's a 50% gain. There's just so much room here. You know what I mean? For this thing to fill the gap back up. It's got a lot of volume behind it. It's obviously, I would assume probably a shit stock, being that it just dropped 80%. So I'm not saying this is a long-term hold or anything, but it should give some opportunities to pop in and out throughout the day. So that's the one I'm going to be watching. Another one that popped up on the scanner this morning was KAVL. Much smaller float, so one to be a little bit more careful with. 11 million float, but you could see this stock trade closed the day at 160 yesterday. got as high as 216. A lot of volatility in there. You know, just these low float stocks you got to be really careful with. If we look at the daily chart on this one, was trading at $17 not too long ago. Looks like it's kind of bottoming out here at 160. I couldn't find any news on this one. Let me check this feed real quick. Usually, even though news doesn't matter when you're day trading, it's always nice to just know if there's anything behind it, behind the movement. Looks like, no, I don't see anything at all. They had a public offering back on October 4th. That was it. I don't see anything since then. But volume wise, yesterday it hit 6 million in volume. This morning it is already at, let me pull this back up. It's already at 3 million. So this one could be a nice runner. I mean, we've seen these days here where you look and it's, moved from $7.92 up to $13. We had another day here where it gapped up from 50 cents. Holy shit. Up to $17 not too long ago, in July. So yeah, I mean, and even if where it's trading right now, it's looking to open up right now at, damn, I can't even see what it's at right now. Let me put this back up real quick. So we're at 182, hit as high as 216. If it can break above 292 today, it's got this gap to fill up to 451. So this could be a pretty interesting one to, again, no news on it, nothing like that, but at least nothing that I can see. But this looks like it can get some legs if it starts moving. So this is one that I'm going to actually keep on my watch list as well. And the only other one that popped up, and I don't even see it on my scanner anymore, so never mind, was earlier FUTU pulled it up, but I don't even see it on here anymore. All right. I'll probably just stick with those two in PROG, BBIG. Just keep an eye on those throughout the day. And again, I'm always looking to kind of keep my eye on some of the other ones. The ATR, SDC, those have provided some big moves when they get volume behind them kind of in the middle of the day. But yeah. The other play I was checking out more as a swing trade, and then I'll get back to the chat and we'll start talking CLOV and everything else. I went over DraftKings yesterday. For anyone who wasn't on yesterday, I did enter back in DraftKings on Friday. So I reopened my position there. Went with some $65 calls in February and some $55 calls in December. I think this thing's ready to, kind of make the reversal and start heading back up here to the recent highs of 65. Break through that, all-time highs of 75. And I'm thinking this is going to be kind of a long-term runner like it was back here from November to February. It's football season. That's when DraftKings makes its money. And I think that's what we're going to be looking at here shortly. And it's been consolidating since this rip up from the $40 range. And again from 42. Looks like it's been consolidating for a while. And I think we may see some movement in there. FCell looks like it's moving a little bit too. And that's came up on that's a run. That's one from yesterday. But I'm going to go ahead and put KAVL up here because I don't know. I think that one might give some good potential this morning. All right. So, the other play the one that I was looking at yesterday, I was talking about with Ghost last night on the NFL show. No financial limits was FUBO. Um, it looks like it's starting to reverse course right now. It's had a lot of good momentum going over the last couple weeks, maybe even a month. And if all of a sudden this thing starts breaking out, above this 35 range, who knows? Kind of like a DraftKings type play, where I'm thinking it could probably, get up here even like to 45. But this is more of a swing trade that I'm probably going to look to enter into today, or maybe later on this week. I mean, that was such a big wick right here that I might wait for some sort of pullback to get in. Just to maybe see if the IV settles down a little. I think IV on this one's at 80%, but this is one that I got on my radar right now. Anyways, let's check out CLOV. I don't even have it up here right now. Let me get this on. Looks like FUBO is moving again in pre-market. All right. Let's see. Michelle says watching net. Let's look at that one real quick. I did some swing trades on net back in February. Where was that at? I think it was February. Must have been in here. Remember I bought, it dipped, and then I ripped back up. So I was probably right here back in January. But either way, I remember playing net a while back. But damn, this thing has been moving. Wow. Is that all-time highs too? Hell yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm keep kind of looking at you guys' conversation there, but yeah, I always feel the same way with these. It's like you see them climbing and they're at all-time highs, and they, it dips back and it keeps running, and now this thing's ripping up, and it's like you don't want to go in there and buy, and then it dips back down. But with some of these plays, I mean, shit, can you imagine if when it hit 88 back here? You were like, oh no, I missed the boat, and then I mean shit, it's at 182, almost double a year later. But yeah. Let's see. Brian says anything new with BNGO. Man, I actually just entered back in recently. I had cut BNGO kind of when I went cash like about a month ago. So I guess that would have been somewhere around here. And then they got some news not too long ago. What was it? Well, it looks like they had a call sweep yesterday. Where was it at? There was some news back on October 12th. They were going to acquire BioDiscovery for consideration up to $100 million. So this was right around here. And so I entered back in, and I think my cost basis, I'm 10 cents or 12 cents more than what I had originally cut it for. But nothing's really going on here. I mean, huge pop back last year from 40 cents to $15. And it's like, I think it's just in this huge consolidation phase right now. But, I mean, this thing, it's constantly like every other week they start releasing these little mini catalysts. And when this thing starts moving, I thought this was going to be the move even right here when it started going up, that it was ready to, come back and hit these all-time highs. And I still think that we're going to see that. I mean, I'm still holding. I'm kind of a long-term holder with BNGO and even AVXL. And it's kind of doing the same thing, just this long consolidation phase. But, with AVXL, it got its little, it's consolidation, and then we saw a nice big run again, and now it's doing the same thing. But with these pharmaceutical plays and these type of ones, it's just kind of like you hold them, wait for the rips, and when you get the rips, sell, and wait for it to come back down. If you still want to hold it long term again, but man, no, I honestly, I thought this thing was going to start running a little bit sooner. I'm still holding right with you. Yeah. Let's see here. Ecom says, look at that PROG option chain. Let's go. FCL, we hit 9. We're in the big money for options. BBIG, I'm holding, waiting for the SEC filing drop. Yeah, so yeah, no, I went over Ecom a little while ago, or I went over PROG a little while ago. Ecom, that I think that's probably the hottest squeeze play right now. I really do. Most potential. It's got so much room to run up. Um, you know, and I don't know. It seems like after all these big pops, it kind of consolidates real quick and then pops again. It's got all the variables you would want in a squeeze play. We pulled up Vortex. It's at like 64% short interest, I think. It's starting to move again this morning. Yeah, volume still sitting there. I really like this play right now. FCell, I'm not in at all. I didn't even trade it yesterday. I was just too damn busy. But FCell's another one that I would probably keep on the watch list right now. Yeah, nah, Brian. I think it's for me at least. I'm still holding on to it because I mean, they've had so much news, and I mean, I really think that they have the potential to kind of be a disruptor in like cancer research and genetic research and everything else. And, um, you know, some of these stocks, like, the next big run, who knows? This shit might go, last time it went from 50 cents to $14. I have no clue. It can go from $5 up to $100. I don't know, or maybe it just goes from 5 back up to 15. That's still a 3 times gain. But that's kind of the gamble with like the pharmaceuticals, therapeutic companies, things like that. Or then all of a sudden they might get bad news and just tank. So again, healthy stop loss, absolutely. But I usually like to have a little bit of cash in some of these plays. Right now I'm in AVXL and BNGO. Um, but in the past, there's been other ones that I've kind of dabbled in too. And, you just never know with them. They're kind of like lottery tickets. But I really like everything that I've read about those two companies, and that's what I have a buddy who kind of drew me into both of them, and they've been trading sideways for a while, but I think they'll have their day. There goes PROG ripping again, man. Damn. Michael says BNGO's daily chart kind of looks like cloves. Yeah, it just had that nice big pop, and now it's just consolidating off it. Present Minds, what's up? Good morning. All right, so we're actually getting close to 6 o'clock. Let's take a look at Clove and just kind of see what happened. So I mean, shit. Yesterday morning, we saw a pop up to 805 early. And that ended up being kind of where I'm looking at way back here. And that ended up being where it got kind of the momentum stopped yesterday as it started running back up. Volume on the day yesterday. Let's see here. I need more coffee this morning. There we go. Like we were at 6.2 million. I think that was probably the lowest, if I'm not mistaken. 6.2 million was the lowest since way back here were the lowest at the time. This is May 10th. But at the time, there we go. The previous low in volume, if I'm not mistaken, was right here around May 24th, which is literally, if we zoom in on that, what, right before the big run. Who knows? Could be some correlation, could not be. But this is the lowest volume we've seen since then. 6.2 yesterday. A little bit of an indecision candle there. Not even a little bit. I mean, that's basically that is an indecision candle. So, typically what happens with these candles is if we go green today, the stock will start, heading green. If we go red today, the stock will probably head red. That's just, from a trading standpoint, that's how people read candles. You get that indecision candle and then you see what the next candle does. But this is a stock that doesn't really trade on technicals anyways. It's just highly manipulated. Damn, PROG is starting to move. All right, so let me pull the CLOV back up real quick. Aside from that, max pain this week on CLOV, I think is still sitting. Yeah, it's right at $8. We did see some more options flow. We've been seeing a lot of bullish options flow coming into CLOV daily, which is just going to help when the thing finally does pop. But here's yesterday, bullish flow, 75% calls the puts. Not a lot of net premium on the buys. 38,000 isn't much. But if we look at the chain again, we're still looking at $10. I think $10 if we can get past that, and 15. And I know that's way a ways away, almost double from where we're trading at to get out here. But if all of a sudden this thing started moving like it did back in May and starts creeping up and gets us to 11 and 12, you're going to end up seeing more options, buyers coming in and loading this thing up again too. But we do have some dominant strikes right now at the $9, 10, 11, and like I said, 15. So there's still some, some dominant strikes that can provide some firepower for when it starts moving. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. And, we do have earnings coming right around the corner. Not a ton of buys yesterday, but it was bullish. We do still have earnings coming right around the corner, I believe on November 10th. And a lot of times we see that lead up into earnings where, a stock will start getting momentum heading into it. That's not quite how it happened last time. I'm talking last time back here. Last time earnings happened, we saw a dip and then a rally. But with most stocks that are not manipulated, sometimes you see, or oftentimes you see a lead up into earnings. Could be that earnings had nothing to do with this run, or this run, right? It just could have been that it was kind of oversold at that lowest point at the time and took off. I do think we've seen a little bit of a reversal started already though. But anyways, back to what I was saying with the earnings right around the corner. I think we're going to see probably we are going to see what they did with their DC, their DCE model. If they had any increase there in lives under management, I think that'll help moving this stock in the right direction, maybe help with some analyst upgrades. I still can't believe we haven't seen an analyst upgrade after getting the 3.5 stars. Open enrollment's happening right now. We may hear a little bit about that in the guidance when they talk about it in earnings. We just had that whole Walmart partnership thing. I mean, there's been, again, nothing but positive news with this stock. If anything, my conviction in it's stronger. It's just that there's not a lot of updates recently. I mean, we've basically just been trading sideways. We go up, we go down. I'm not really going to get excited here until we start trading probably above $10, to be honest with you. Just kind of continuing to accumulate. Um, I started selling some puts recently at the $8 strikes, and it's funny. I was talking to some friends the other day about a strategy I wanted to run just to kind of screw around and see how it goes. Got the idea from Venture Investor, and I did sell some puts recently, based off. So he had sold some puts, and I'll talk. Actually, let's finish talking about CLOV first, and then I'll talk about that while we're waiting to get in. But so let's see. I was looking at this before we came in yesterday. 52% in the dark pool. Again, nothing new. It's not like anything, any big revelations or anything. This is the same type of manipulation we've been seeing. 52% short interest, or short volume, and we've been seeing that for a while. So heavily manipulated stock. At some point, it's going to reverse, and we'll get that big pop again. I really believe that. We went over open interest. I don't think there's much to see here on Ortex, but we'll pull it up real quick. Still kind of the same numbers. Utilization actually dropped. I think that was at 81 yesterday. So again, not much going on. 51 million shares on loan still. But we have a bigger float now than we did back in June. The one thing that was interesting, and I know me and Ghost talked about it a little bit yesterday and now I can't find where did it go? There we go. And there we go. All right, so institutional ownership. Sage Rhino was the one. So it looks like here they had a put position that they cleared out, and now went long 274,000 shares. So these 13F filings, when you look at them, anything green is, a new position. Red is a closed position. So they had a put position that they've now closed out. Okay, 100%. And and now they have a new position in shares, 274,000 shares. This could be two ways. This could be one, they had puts that, like I said, they decided they're going long now and closed them out. But more likely, what I think happened is they probably were on the opposite side of this. They probably sold puts and got assigned. So I don't know if it shows their cost basis in here. It doesn't. We could probably look in there if we really wanted to figure it out. But either way, again, we're just starting to see some people kind of flip and go long. Here's another one. This is from earlier, but Davenport and Company closed out their put position. So yeah, I don't think we're too far off with CLOV. I think at some point here, we're going to start to see this reversal, and it could be that we have to wait until earnings, or even post earnings. It could be that we have to wait for guidance, but I also think any news that kind of pops in on the tech side too can get this stock moving too. It seems like for a while we were seeing news like almost once a week about the technology side of CLOV, and we haven't seen anything in a while. So who knows? My news feed now, when I look at CLOV, is all meme stock shit, which I hate. It's like you want to look for news on the company, and it's all Wall Street bets, Reddit crowd. Trying to filter through all that crap is hard. Genetic Nate, what's up? Good morning. Did FCell jump on green money from government? FCell started moving yesterday, right? Was that let's see here. Yeah. And FCell looks like it may be maybe starting to reverse. It just broke through this point right here, where it had seen resistance twice. Starting to head up. I'm not in this play long term or anything like that. This was one that just came up on the scanner yesterday as a day trade, although I know Ghost was talking about yesterday this being more of like kind of like an energy play, I don't know if he said he was getting in for a swing trade or not, but looking at the chart, it's kind of in this consolidation phase for a while now, coming off highs from February. And it does look like, again, it just broke out of this kind of $8 range. I think if it can keep running, next point of resistance maybe would be right here around 1234. That seems to be a level here. Not so much here, but yeah, if it starts running, I think it can continue to go. And then I don't know much about the stock fundamentally, so I can't really. There we go. All right. Yeah, Skip, I agree with you. I don't know if we'll see any action until a new price target or earnings. It's going to be one or the other, or like I said, who knows? Like if we get some news on the tech side, that could drive some volume in too. What that news would be, I don't know. I mean, we already know that they have patents for it. We already know that they kind of made it plug and play with all these cloud services. They've been doing all this stuff, for the Clover Assistant on that side. Who knows? But if all of a sudden we get news that Clover Assistant is going to be used for this, that, and the other, or they're gonna start, they just made some breakthrough with the, anything on the tech side too could get it moving. Just getting eyes on it as a technology play and not necessarily as a health insurance company. And I've talked about that a lot too, that it's just like right now, the grand scheme of things, from an investment standpoint, if someone was coming in to join this long term, Clover Health is just an insurance company until we see them doing more with the tech. So that's my take, at least. I mean, for me, it's a technology play. That's why I'm in it. But I think we just got to see a little bit more on it. Bud, what do you think of SEC's report on GameStop? According to them, GameStop last January did not short or gamma squeeze, and the price action was entirely driven by buying and selling. I disagree on that point. I didn't read the whole report, but I read a lot of the comments that people were putting on Twitter. I read some Reddit posts on it and stuff, and it sounded to me like, in a nutshell, basically this was like maybe some interns, or maybe not interns, but people at the SEC that basically did a briefing. They put together a briefing of exactly what happened in January, right? And that way they can go present it to Gensler and whoever else. Hey, this is what happened. Now, what are we going to do about it? So they didn't really come up with anything, but it did. I mean, I don't know. You guys know I'm still holding some GameStop, and I still think that there's a lot of short interest in there that I don't think they covered. I think that, a lot of the same manipulation we're seeing in Clove, and a lot of the manipulation that I've kind of explained in what's happening with Clove is stuff that I saw first off in GameStop and kind of read about in the Super Stonks subreddit. And I mean, there was a ton of DD there. I think there's not as much now because now it's just more of the same. But in terms of that SEC report, who knows what it's going to bring? I mean, yeah, it shines some more light on what happened. I agree that there wasn't a short squeeze. I was saying that kind of even. I think the gamma squeeze, though, happened for sure. I think that's what absolutely drove that price action up. And I think that they may be trying to say that it was all retail driven because they're going to try to paint the picture to say that look what happens when these Redditors get together and they have the ability of driving a stock price up from $3 up to $4.80. But that's not what happened at all. Um, those big movements in GameStop back in January were driven by the option chain. I mean, if you go back and look, the option chain would get loaded up and then it would blow through the chain. And then they'd extend the chain, it would get loaded up and it'd blow through the chain. And don't get me wrong, the retail volume that was pouring into the stock was helping it to move past those strikes on the option chain, but it was entirely gamma squeezes that was moving it up. I don't necessarily think that it was a short squeeze, but at the same time, with the amount of volume that was in there, who knows? And who knows how high it would have went if they wouldn't have pulled the plug. I mean, there's just so many unanswered questions. There's no way of knowing. The short, it was well over 100% shorted. And, when you think about that, but then you think about the amount of volume that poured in that day, every short could have covered. Absolutely. During that big run up, with just so many shares trading hands. But I think it also got shorted back down, even if that was the case, from 480 back down to 40. So to me, that would mean that the short interest piled back in, but that wasn't what was reported. So I just think that there's so much manipulation going on in the market right now, not just with GameStop, but just everywhere. Damn, look at PROG. I've been sitting here watching in this thing. Now I'm wishing I would have jumped in a little bit earlier. Back here, I was waiting for market open. And I talked about it when we crossed over a couple times, but this thing is moving. I know some of you guys held it overnight and shit. You're looking nice right now. No, Rob, I'm absolutely holding CLOV. I never said, who said I'm not holding CLOV? Or are you talking to somebody else? I don't know what you mean, Rob. Did I say I wasn't holding CLOV? Let's see. Pete says the volume on CLOV's absolutely drying up. Yeah, no, it's and this is what happened right before the last pop, right? That's kind of what I said. Like the last time we hit our lowest volume, and then right now we're hitting our lowest volume since then. So this is kind of where it was at before it started moving last time. Let's see here. Noir says, there goes PROG. Yeah, this thing is ripping right now. Thomas O'Connell, what's up? Good morning. Josh, you know what's crazy? So I went in there. Every Monday I go in and I pause right at the end so I could see what me and Ghost's picks were for the NFL show. And when I paused it, your message was up there. And so I was looking through, and I didn't go through and look exactly because I don't remember if you said there were money lines or against the spread. But I just kind of, this was yesterday afternoon, and I just kind of went through, and I'm like, damn, win. And then I forget, maybe it was the Lions, I think was one that you lost on. But I was looking at it, and I was like, holy shit, did he hit it? And then I saw a couple of losses in there. But still, that was like 8 or 9 teams. That was that was pretty damn good. Let's see here. Yeah, Thomas, I think if we got an upgrade even to $12, again, that drives volume in, that gets us moving. And this is, even though I don't agree with it, this is a meme stock. It is. And what I mean by that is it's got a shit ton of retail interest. If we see CLOV spike 10, 20%, you're going to see a ton of volume pour in from the Wall Street Bets crowd, the Reddit crowd, everybody else. Okay, that's what I mean by it's a meme stock. It's got a lot of eyes on it. So if all of a sudden we see that movement, you're going to see the option change, just start getting hammered. You're going to see everything, and you're going to see this thing. That's why I think it's got, potential to pop regardless of what's going on it. Because if all of a sudden we start moving naturally you're gonna get a bunch of people jumping on the bandwagon. DJ Tardis, what's up? Kevin Lynch says take a look at IMMP. It's just like something that's, oh shit, moving a little bit. 397. You could tell not a lot of volume. I could usually spot that just by these little dots. But we look at the daily chart on this. Like it ran up to 8. Starting to I mean, who knows? But just looking at this, you know, you see this low, high, then we see a higher low, lower high, higher low, not by much, but still lower high. It looks like maybe just from a technical, just again, I don't know shit about this stock, that maybe it's kind of gonna start, you know, kind of coming out until it breaks out of the pattern and then maybe shoot back up just from a technical standpoint, just glancing at it. But in terms of the only thing I would look at here is if you're looking for like a swing trade type deal, is, you know, something that would show that it's breaking out, right? Like if all of a sudden we break out past this high of 426, which it looks like it's pretty damn close to, and it like closes up here. Now I'd say, okay, we're not in that pattern that I just described. It's ready to keep breaking. Then again, you'd want to see it break above 446. And then from there, yeah, you got a ton of room to the upside, you know. Shit, I'm way behind here. Ecom, that's right. Bro, you know what's pissing me off right now about PROG is that was my plan today, was to jump in and grab some more contracts. But now, I mean, this shit's up 10% in pre-market, and it's just going to cost me more money. You know, if anything, I was hoping for this dip that we saw right here where it looked like it was coming down. I would have loved to have been able to open up at 290 and then get this price action. That's the only reason I'm not in right now, is because I was going to wait until the open and jump in with calls with the intention of holding long term. I probably still will, but this thing is moving. JJ, what's up? Yes, I'm still holding shares in CLOV. I don't know why you were asking that a little while ago. Did I say something that made you think differently? Because I saw you ask that a little while ago, Rob, and I don't know where that came from. Maybe when I was talking about selling puts, which actually I'll talk about real quick here right now. But yeah, shit, I haven't sold any CLOV since June. I've just been adding on. But okay, the Lions and the Texans, Josh, I see that. Faith, what's up? Good morning. So anyways, Rob, if this is what you were talking about, I'll explain what I was saying here now that we're kind of caught up on everything. But so Venture Investor had tweeted out a while back that he sold some puts here. Okay, and I think he got a better price than what's showing right there even. But and then I ended up selling a couple too. Selling puts is a bullish play. Okay, you sell puts when you think a stock's going to go up. So check this out. And I actually want to, and so I sold a couple too, but I sold them at the $15 strike here. But I was thinking about doing this just to screw around, you know, like just to open up. But if I did it, I would do it as a separate account, just to kind of see how it plays out. Because I've never actually done this long term where, you know, I've sold puts and done what I'm going to describe right now. But I guess because I'm so bullish on CLOV for the long haul, my plan was kind of to come in here, um, and let's say you got $2,000, right, or 20 grand, however you want to do it, and you go in here, let's say with $2,000, and you sell one put here. Um, you probably get filled somewhere in between. Let's just call it $14. Okay. So you're gonna put 2,000 in capital up, um, which you're not spending. You're just holding it in your account because it's cash secured puts, and maybe you get $14 back. So you're getting 1,400 back. So really, you're only risking 600. Okay. You still have the $2,000 sitting there. You're getting 1,400 back. That 1,400 you could do whatever you want with, right? So now you take that 1,400 and you buy 175 shares of CLOV, right? I mean, even if you want to just go ahead and put up your own $200, so maybe you start with 2,200. Now you take the 1,400 you got back, add in an extra two, and you buy 200 shares of CLOV, whatever. Now you got 200 shares. Let's just call it that. And you still have this contract that you're on the hook for, but it doesn't expire until 2024. Okay. So stock goes up. Let's say, we shoot up to $16 in January of this year, or December of this year. All of a sudden, when we get to $16, you're going to get the opportunity to buy yourself out of these puts. Probably, you receive this premium of 1,400. You'll probably be able to sell yourself out for, I don't know, maybe $6, somewhere around there. Or maybe you don't even do it yet. You just wait and hold until we get above 20. And now all of a sudden you could buy yourself out of those puts for $1, for $100. But either way, let's say the stock runs up to $25 or something like that. Now you go in and you sell covered calls on those 200 shares. Okay, and you're able to, because premiums through the roof, premiums at 300, 400%. You sell covered calls on those. Maybe you're able to rack in an extra, I don't know, $600 per share, so $1,200 coming back to you now, plus the shares themselves, because we're at $20, are now worth what, $4,000 a piece, or 2,000 and 2,000, so $4,000. But you're not selling the shares, but you're able to rake in maybe an extra $600, $700 per 100 shares because you're selling covered calls. So now you got an extra $1,500 in cash. You still have the shares, and now you can buy yourselves out of the puts for, let's say, $1 or something like that, because it's trading so high. So at the end of the day, I know I just described a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, you buy yourself out of the put contract. You get that $2,000 in capital freed up. So now you have $2,000 in cash. You have 200 shares that you essentially got for free now. And you just raked in what, like $1,200, $1,400, whatever it may be, in the covered calls you sold. So at the end of the day, you got 200 shares and maybe 3,500 cash, all starting off that original $2,000. So anyways, that's how that selling puts works, right? When you would do it like that way out. And I know I just went through that fast, but because I'm so bullish long term on CLOV, I was almost thinking the other day of going into one of my other brokerage accounts, because I have a couple different brokerage accounts. I have one at TD, one at Schwab. Maybe even opening up a separate one and just doing it to play around, like put 20 grand in there, sell, do exactly what I described, and just go into it with the mindset of, I'm never going to sell these shares ever. Like, I believe that 10 years from now, CLOV is going to be, trading at in the hundreds, maybe even in the thousands, like trading for $1,000 10 years from now. Once the technology gets rolling, it's going to be trading like a Tesla or an Amazon or something, probably have some stock splits along the way. That's really what I believe is going to happen with this company. But I've always talked about, when we have these big pops, I'm going to sell and wait for it to come back down. So if I was able to, go into a separate brokerage account and, maybe just see how many shares can I accumulate for free, basically, off that first initial purchase that I sell the puts with. And just as like, and I'm never going to sell those, right? And then you just keep playing the game. So in that thing I described, I started with 20 grand or 2 grand. Let's say we started with 2 grand and we just did it with that first selling puts on 100 shares, and started with, 200 shares. Then you sell the covered calls. Now you use that capital to, basically sell puts again next time the price comes down, then use that capital to go in and buy more shares and just accumulate over time. So I don't know. I may end up doing that as long as the stock doesn't take off before I have a chance to set it all up. But if I do, maybe I'll even just like I said, open up a separate brokerage account. We could just kind of I'll show you guys exactly what's going on with it, and just kind of walk through the steps throughout the whole thing, and even 5 years from now still be talking about it, and showing exactly what I'm doing and playing through this thing all off an initial $2,000 or whatever it is, and see how many shares we can accumulate doing that. So anyways, it was just an idea I had, but that's what I was talking about when I was talking about selling puts, Rob, if that made you feel like I was bearish on the stock or something. I was absolutely still bullish. Just talking about a different strategy. All right, we're at 6:21 right now. Got about 9 minutes until market open. Scotty, what's up? Have a great day, man. Stock Hunter says OLB's up right now. Oh yeah, shit! It just came up on my scanner too. OLB small float, 4.5 million. No news on that one. Recent high 1640. Something to keep an eye on there. Shit, I might like that one a little bit more. And what's going on with this one? F-cell popped up on the scanner again. Okay, there goes Dave. What's up, Dave? Good morning, coach. OLB looks really good. Tiny float Bitcoin mining going online today. Okay. I don't know why my news feed, like even when I just pulled up OLB, I got to change my settings. Here's my TD Ameritrade news feed, has some stuff. Yeah. OLB initiates Bitcoin mining with 100 amp miners. Okay. I like it. Gotta text Ghost real quick and make sure. I know he's big in the minings. I just hit him up real quick to let him know. Check that one out. But yeah, so I guess I'll keep that one up. PROG, I think, is going to be the big mover this morning. What's OLB? Have no options? No. Okay. Man, I really like this PROG play, but I don't know if I want to jump in and chase with options at least at 3:30. I might just get in with some shares now. But I was hoping for a dip below 3 to kind of come in and grab some of those. We'll see where it goes this morning. Thomas says CLOV over 8.2 runs. Yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. It does seem pretty damn far away though. Even if we go back and look at the 5 minute, the last 5 days, 8:05, 8:25 right there. That's when we broke out that day. Um, this pop right here was crazy because of the volume that came in on that day. On that 5 minute candle out of nowhere, we had 2.4 million in volume. And then 2.6 million in the next. So that was 5 million in volume right there between this 10 minutes. And what a huge pop. And then right back down to trading sideways. DJ Tardis, thank you. I'm glad you brought that up because that was on my notes and I just didn't bring it up this morning. So, BKKT, we got about 4 minutes before the market opens. I got stopped out yesterday. I still have the options, but I got stopped out. Now that means it's probably going to take off running, but I didn't have a stop loss on, and so I held through. I don't know if we could even still see VIH on here. No, we can't. But I held through the drop that I was not going to hold through. And then I set myself a stop loss to go out, below 9. So I lost 10% on those shares. Not really sure. I've been kind of looking at Ortex just to see what's going on. Actually, I haven't looked this morning. I'll check it out right now. But man, let's see. Still doesn't pop up. If you pull up VIH on Ortex, it's still sitting there. So that's old data. But I would imagine it's probably very similar in data. Let's see. Utilization 99. Looks like the short interest dropped significantly though. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. So let's see. Fate, no, I'm not chasing at all. That's why I said I want to kind of, I've been day trading this on and off prog. But I wanted to get in on some options and I was waiting for it to pull back to like 290. Like I wanted to see it dip below 3 and jump in on some options. But I think Prog might have the ability to move even higher. For anyone who's just joining, we pulled this up earlier. And I mean, of all the squeeze plays, it's trading above VWAP right now. Or not VWAP. God, I need some more coffee this morning. It's trading above Max Payne. Had too much talking this morning. And we're looking at 63% short interest, 99% utilization. Cost to borrow showing 74, but 251 on average today. So I feel like this thing. And then if you look at, the daily chart on this, it looks like it's in the beginning stages and it's got, some room to go to 415, maybe 5, upwards of 7, previous high this year of 9, all-time high of 16 when it IPO'd. I mean, I don't know if it's going to actually get that high, but it's doing a nice little climb too. And it may end up just pulling back like it has been the last, this last time it ran up, it pulled back a little, consolidated before the next run up. So I'm waiting for a long-term entry point. I was hoping to maybe get it today, but it looks like it's gapping up today and it might continue to run. So, I just, but I'm definitely gonna be looking to day trade this again today. And if I could find a nice entry point, I wish I would have did it yesterday to get in with the options because those would have been up huge today. But yeah, I'm not gonna buy any right at the open because now who knows? It's gapping up 10%. It may pull right back down. And yeah. Let's see. Or did we just hit open? We just hit the market open. Let me zoom in on CLOV real quick. And we'll get all these zoomed in. Michelle says, I feel like market makers will keep CLOV right where it is. I saw 750 max pain for a week in November 5th before earnings. Well, the max pain will continue to change based on open interest. So it could change daily. Hopefully it's a little bit higher. But yeah, I mean, if we're still trading right here around 750 or 8, we're going to need some sort of catalyst or something to draw volume into the stock to get it to move, I think. Let's see. It says PROG is dipping for you. Now's your chance. Let me look real quick and see where I'm at. Nothing there. All right. Damn, and there goes PROG again. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna hold off. If it runs to 450 or something, then I'll catch another one. Let's see. DJ Tardis says, if the case is shorts don't have to cover now that it's swapped over. I think they would still have to cover. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the float increased. I know there was like warrants and stuff that were involved because it was a SPAC. But no, any shorts would have to cover. Like if you borrowed shares, you'd have to return them at some point. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. And as I'm looking around, it looks like for the most part, damn, I see AMC's popping big time right now. Not big time. It's a big green candle. Amongst a bunch of red ones, I'm looking BBIG, red candles, SDC, red. What else? ATR's red. And AMC's got this huge green candle up there. Same thing with DraftKings. Oh, there goes GameStop popping just a little bit. So, all right. Oh, shit. GameStop started popping a lot there. Pull that up real quick just so you guys could see what I'm looking at. All right. We at 6:33. Fluffer, what's up? Good morning. Nice to see you. Danny did it. Says RCAT, PROG with smaller sizes. What's up with RCAT? I don't even know. Oh, RCAT was one that we saw earlier on the Fintel list, huh? Yeah. That was number 3 on that Fintel list for squeezes. Okay. Noar says good luck, everyone. Let's see here. Stock Hunter says BT. I know that's another one that's been on and off the short squeeze list as well. Is that one kind of moving this morning? Yes, it is. Up 7% right now. All right. So I'm gonna go get my kids ready and everything. But just to recap, stocks that I'm gonna be watching today. I mean, it looks like some other ones that you guys just called out too, like BT, but PROG's on my watch list. AVIR was one I haven't even pulled up since this morning, but it fell off from 40, has some increase in volume. This is one that I was talking about potentially looking to fill that gap up, so it might give some decent entry points in here if you're looking to day trade that one. KAVL was the other one that if it starts running, it's got a lot of room to the upside, kind of a small float, but another one I'll be looking into. And then we had some other ones that kind of popped up throughout the day. But these are the two that I'm going to be watching: KAVL, AVIR, and then PROG. But everybody else, good luck today. Have a great day. Don't chase. Always take profits. That's the other part of it, especially if you're trying to just get in and out of trades. I think the most important thing is don't get greedy. If especially if you're trading options, if you buy something, you get up 30-40%, maybe even more, set a stop loss, trailing stop, whatever you got to do. Always protect your capital, protect your profits. There'll always be other trades. And I am, years ago, I would have came in and saw this coming up to 350 and bought right here, and that's why I'm just kind of waiting. I'm still probably going to jump back in PROG today, but waiting for an entry point. And if I don't get one, that's fine. There'll always be another play, and that's kind of what you got to tell yourself. Michelle says Bitcoin is moving. And that is, I should just mention this real quick. When Bitcoin moves, so do the miners. HUT, ANY. There we go. We're starting to see some of those ones move. And then the new one that Dave mentioned a little while ago, and I already forgot it because I'm tired as shit this morning. Excuse my language. OLB. There we go. So yeah, you guys all have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate it. See you guys later. Hopefully check you out tomorrow.